we're back. So now what we're going to talk about, the next element of the case brief is the fact section. So we're going to look at the case, and in this case we're talking about the London Bucket case. And what we want to find is we want to pull out what we're going to call the procedural history. The procedural posture is what a lawyer would call it. So what we want to know is, who are the parties? What happened in the case before, and why did this case even come up here? So just think about where the case is. Where the case right now is at the Kentucky Court of Appeals. So what happened that got this case where it was? So we're going to look really quick at the beginning of this case, and we're going to keep in mind that we've read through it once, at least once. We know what the case is about, and we kind of are keeping that in mind as we read. So basically, this is an appeal from a judgment decreeing specific performance of a contract to properly furnish and install a heating system for a large motel. Luckily, these are some pretty easy words. So now's a good time to grab your highlighter / pen / highlighting tool on your computer. What we want to find out, we already know that London Bucket and Stewart are part of this case, but what we want to find out is who they really are. So here, the next sentence says, the basic contention of the appellant, London Bucket Company. So we're going to, with whatever, I'm using red for parties. So I'm going to underline appellant, London Bucket Company. Now, as we learned in the first few chapters, an appellant is the party who is the party who probably lost in the court before the appeal, who is actually now the one appealing. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the ones who originally brought the case. In fact, the caption will look different in an appeals court, because the first party in the caption is going to be the party who brings the appeal, who wants the court to relook at the decision. So we know that the appellant, London Bucket Company, basically contends that the remedy of specific performance will not lie for this for breach of this type of contract. Sorry, I'm having a hard time reading tonight. So let's keep that in mind when we go into the other elements of the case brief, because I think that really shows what we're really talking about here. So let's kind of fast forward throughout here. The next paragraph, it says, the Chancellor overruled a demur to the petition, and this is the first assignment of error. The fact section is probably where, if you don't understand some of the words, you should go look them up. You might not know what a demur is. A demur is just actually usually an objection to a petition. So a petition is going to be the pleading that sets forth what the petitioner or the plaintiff wants to say to the court, is claiming, and what they're asking for damages. And so apparently there was a demur to a petition. And so let's see who wrote the petition. It says, the next sentence, Stewart's petition. So Stewart, I'm going to say, was the plaintiff, because they filed the petition, set out the contract, the pertinent parts of which are as follows. So now we're going to find out what was in the contract. So I want you to switch over to, like, I'm going to say green, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to say this is what the contract was about. The parties of the first part, this is just funny language for the first party, the first offer, probably the one who started the contract. The parties of the first part agree and bind themselves to furnish and install in said building the following equipment. If you keep reading, what you're going to find out is that Stewart asked London Bucket Company to install a furnace in their building and guarantee it to be 75 degrees in the winter and to supervise work and everything. So then it says the plaintiff alleged that the defendant installed something incomplete, unskilled, unworkmanlike, never finishing it, totally inferior quality of materials, and didn't do what they said they were going to do. That's the gist of it. They didn't perform the contract like they said they would. So then plaintiff wants, we get down to the next part, plaintiff here now demands of the court that defendant be compelled to specifically perform the term of said contract and complete said installation and furnish the type of furnace provided, and we're going to go yada da 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 da. This basically says is they want what they promised in the first place. Stuart wants specific performance. Specific performance is an equitable remedy. It is not money damages. It is just do what you said you were going to do and do it right. But then if you keep going, it says specific performance and also $8,250 damages for the negligent construction and the loss of business and the resulting expense. So what they want is they really want an either or. They want, well, I'm sure they really want all of it, but they can't have both, because remember, a contract, the idea of a breach in a contract and having damages is to make the person who did not breach whole in light of the breach. So obviously you can't have them correct their mistake and also pay money that would be to correct the mistake. So basically what I would say for this section, we're talking about what the facts are. So let's go just a little farther because we need to know what happened in the court. So basically, here we go. Plaintiff Stuart sued or contracted with defendant London Bucket Company for London Bucket to put a furnace in their building. London Bucket put a furnace in the building, but what Stuart says is it was wrong. It was wrong. It was not what they said they would do. And Stuart sued, and London Bucket said no. And Stuart wants specific performance of the contract and damages. And so then now we've got that part of the facts all together. Now what we need to know is what happened in the court. So basically, if you go down just a little bit farther, let's skip kind of the bottom paragraph there, and then we're going to go right at the bottom of the sheet. The court decreed the defendant is hereby mandatorily ordered and directed to comply with the terms of said contract in its entirety. So what is the court asking, or not asking? What is the court ordering? The court is ordering specific performance in this contract. So that is the fact section. Stuart, plaintiff, sues defendant London Bucket for specific performance and damages. Court orders specific performance. So we're done with the facts section.